The weight was more than numbers on a scale. It was a heavy, suffocating cloak, a cloak Sarah wore every single day. It pressed down hard on her spirit. It whispered insidious words of defeat. Sleep offered little true escape from it. Mornings brought the same familiar burden. Life felt like a slow, difficult trudge. Each step was heavier than the last. Simple, everyday tasks became mountains. Bending down just to tie her shoes, climbing a single short flight of stairs. Her breath would catch, become ragged. Her heart would pound in her chest. She watched other people move with ease. A deep, weary sigh was her constant companion. Joy seemed like a distant, faded memory, lost somewhere in the heavy folds of the cloak. Food had become a very complicated friend. Sometimes it was a fleeting comfort briefly, then always a source of more pain. The bathroom mirror showed a stranger, someone tired, someone utterly lost. She mostly avoided her own reflection. She avoided social gatherings too, mostly. The heavy cloak kept her isolated, alone. It was a lonely, quiet existence. Doctors spoke to her of many risks, of numbers on charts and graphs, but they didn't truly feel the cloak. They didn't hear its constant whispers. Hope was such a fragile, tiny thing, almost too small for her to see. Sarah felt completely stuck, utterly trapped. Was there really any way out of this? One grey afternoon, something shifted slightly. Sarah sat by her window watching rain. Another day was slipping away, unnoticed. A sudden sharp thought pierced the gloom. I cannot live like this anymore. It was not a shout, but a clear whisper. A whisper from deep within her tired heart. This single thought was a tiny spark, a spark in the overwhelming darkness. This spark did not bring a grand plan, no sudden urge to change everything at once. That felt too big, too impossible. Instead, it brought a small question. What is one tiny thing I can do? Just one thing. Right now, not tomorrow. The rain had stopped outside her window. The sun was trying to peek through clouds. A small, almost forgotten idea surfaced. She decided to walk, just a little. Not a long hike, not a punishing run, just a walk to the end of her street. And maybe, if she felt brave, back again. It seemed small, almost pointless perhaps, but it was something she could choose. She put on her old, comfortable shoes. The laces felt tight over her swollen feet. This was the first step, a real step. The front door opened with a creak. The air outside felt surprisingly fresh. Each step was a conscious effort. Her legs felt heavy, unused to movement, but she kept going, one foot, then the other. She reached the end of the street. She paused, took a breath, and turned back. That small walk was a quiet victory. The spark inside her flickered a bit brighter. The next day, Sarah walked again, and the day after that, she walked too. It was not easy. Some days, it was hard. Her muscles ached with a dull pain. Her mind offered many excuses to stop. It's too cold today, it would whisper. You're too tired, it would insist. But she remembered the spark. She remembered that first small victory. She started to walk a little further, past the end of her street, around the block, then to the little park nearby. She noticed things she hadn't seen before. The way sunlight filtered through leaves, the sound of birds singing in trees. The world seemed a little less grey. The heavy cloak felt a fraction lighter, or perhaps she was a fraction stronger. There were still difficult days, of course, days when the old despair tried to return, days when the walk felt like a chore. But something was changing deep inside. A new feeling was starting to grow. It felt like determination, like resolve. She was doing this for herself, not for anyone else, not for a number, but for the chance to feel alive again. The small victories started to add up. She could walk further without losing breath. Her shoes felt a little looser on her feet. She even found herself looking forward to it. This daily walk became her quiet time, a time to think, a time to just be. The light was beginning to pierce the darkness. Hope was no longer so small. It was growing step by steady step. Sarah's walks made her think about her body, this body that carried her every day. This body she had often neglected. She started to think about food differently, not as an enemy or a fleeting comfort, but as fuel, as nourishment, as life. What kind of fuel was she giving it? What did her body truly need to thrive? These questions were new and important. She remembered some simple advice. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. It sounded so easy, so straightforward. She looked at the packages in her kitchen. Long lists of ingredients she couldn't say. This was not food her grandmother knew. This was something else, something processed. She decided to make another small change, one simple swap at a time. She started with sugary drinks, the cans of soda, the sweet juices. She replaced them with plain water. It tasted bland at first. She missed the sugar. But she kept at it, one glass at a time. Then she looked at her breakfast cereal. More sugar, more strange ingredients. She tried oatmeal instead with a sliced apple. Real food, simple food. It felt good. Slowly she began to clear out the junk, the chips, the cookies, the ready-made meals. She started to visit the produce aisle more, brightly coloured fruits, fresh green vegetables. She learned to cook simple meals again, a baked chicken breast, steamed broccoli. It took more time, more effort, yes, but the food tasted better, more real. Her body seemed to thank her for it. Section 5. The rhythm of movement beyond the walk. The daily walks became easier, pleasant. Sarah found she had more energy now. The park was no longer a distant goal. It was a regular part of her routine. She felt a new lightness in her step. The heavy cloak was definitely less heavy. Sometimes on her walks she felt an urge to move a little faster, to feel the wind in her hair. One sunny morning she decided to try. Just for a few steps, a very slow jog. It felt awkward at first, unfamiliar. Her lungs burned a little, her legs protested. But she did it. She jogged. Then she walked again, smiling to herself. Another small barrier had been broken. Another I can't had become I did. This feeling was incredibly powerful. She started to add short bursts of jogging, 30 seconds of jogging, then walking. Slowly she increased the time. A minute of jogging, then 2 minutes. She wasn't trying to win any races. She was simply listening to her body, enjoying the new strength she was finding, the rhythm of her feet on the path, the rhythm of her breath, steady and strong. The extra movement brought new changes. She slept more soundly through the night. She woke up feeling more refreshed. Her clothes were definitely looser now. People started to notice a difference. They said she looked well, more vibrant. The best part was how she felt inside, stronger, more capable, more alive. Movement was becoming a source of joy. Section 6. Quenching the thirst, the power of water. Sarah thought about her drinks again. She had cut out the sugary sodas, but she still drank a lot of coffee, and sometimes not much else all day. She read somewhere about the importance of water, how our bodies are mostly made of it, how it helps everything work better. It sounded so simple. Too simple, maybe. Could just drinking water make a big difference? She decided to make water her main drink. She bought a reusable water bottle. She kept it with her all the time, sipping throughout the day. At first she visited the bathroom more often, but soon her body adjusted to it. She started to notice subtle changes. Her skin looked clearer, less dull. She felt less sluggish in the afternoons. It was like an internal spring cleaning. Water was flushing out her system. It helped her feel less hungry sometimes. Often what she thought was hunger was thirst. This was a revelation for her. A simple glass of water could satisfy. It had no calories, no sugar, no chemicals, just pure, clean, life-giving water. Such a basic thing, yet so powerful. She still enjoyed a cup of coffee or a cup of herbal tea sometimes, but water was now her constant companion. She learned to listen to her body's thirst. It was another way of respecting herself. Another simple choice for better health, like walking, like eating real food. These small things were adding up, creating a foundation of well-being. Section 7. Finding stillness, the calm within. This journey was not just about the body. Sarah knew that deep down. The heavy cloak had been emotional too, full of stress, anxiety and sadness. Losing weight was good, feeling stronger was good, but her mind also needed care. She often felt overwhelmed by thoughts, worries about the past, fears for the future. She needed to find some inner peace. Someone suggested she try meditation. The idea seemed strange at first. Sitting still, doing nothing. How could that help? But she was open to trying new things now. She found a simple guided meditation online, just 5 minutes to start. She sat quietly, closed her eyes. She focused on her breath, in and out. Her mind wandered. Of course it did. The guide said that was normal. Just gently bring your attention back to the breath, again and again. It was harder than she expected, but also surprisingly calming. For those few minutes, the world outside faded. The constant chatter in her head softened. She felt a sense of stillness, a quiet space inside herself. She started to practice meditation daily, sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes for 10. It was not about stopping thoughts. It was about not being controlled by them, learning to observe them without judgment. This practice helped her manage stress better. She felt less reactive to daily frustrations. She found a new sense of emotional clarity. The journey inward was as important as the outward. Section 8. The Unveiling, a New Dawn. Months passed by, filled with small, consistent efforts. The walks turned into jogs, The processed foods stayed out of her kitchen. Water became her constant, clear companion. Quiet moments of meditation centered her days. Sarah didn't look in the mirror obsessively, but one morning she caught her reflection and she truly saw herself, really saw. The stranger was gone. In her place was someone familiar, yet new. Her face was thinner, her eyes brighter. There was a lightness about her. The heavy cloak was no longer there. Perhaps a light shawl remained, a reminder. But the suffocating weight was lifted. She stepped on the scale not with fear, but with curiosity. The number was much lower. A significant amount of weight was gone, but the changes were so much more than weight. She woke up before her alarm clock now, feeling rested, feeling eager for the day. Climbing stairs was easy, effortless. She could play with her nieces and nephews, running with them in the park, laughing. These were joys she thought were lost forever. Her doctor was amazed at her progress. Her health markers were all improving. The biggest change was in her spirit. The constant whispers of defeat were silenced, replaced by a quiet confidence, a gentle strength. She reconnected with old friends, made new ones. She no longer felt the need to hide. She felt proud of her journey, her transformation. It wasn't just about losing weight. It was about gaining her life back. A vibrant, joyful, fulfilling life. Section 9. The Lifelong Promise. It's a decision, not a diet. Sarah looked back at her journey. It hadn't been a quick fix or a magic pill. There were no shortcuts to this place. It was a path made of small, daily choices. Each choice a step towards health, towards life, the walking, the real food, the water, the stillness. These were not temporary measures for her. They had become her way of living, a way she now cherished deeply. This was not a diet she had been on. Diets have end dates. Diets often fail. Diets feel like punishment, like restriction. This was different. This was a decision to nourish her body, a decision to move with joy, a decision to quiet her mind, a decision to choose herself every day. This was a commitment to her own well-being. The power was not in some complicated plan. The power was in the simplicity of starting and the consistency of continuing. One walk, one healthy meal, one glass of water, one quiet breath, that is how it begins. The journey of 1,000 miles, as they say, it truly starts with a single step. Sarah knew this now with all her heart. She was living proof of this simple truth. So if you feel that heavy cloak upon you, if you hear those whispers of defeat, know that there is a spark within you too, waiting to be fanned into a flame. It's not a diet, it's a decision to change your life, a decision to find your strength, a decision to reclaim your health and joy. Start today. Just one small step, start today.